Hi everyone, MJ, aka Silver Moon Tarot and Astrology. I'm sorry for removing the Aries and Taurus videos, feeling it was not up to a standard that I strive for to help others. Plus my own personal energy being off, I felt it was best to take them down. My purpose for this channel is not the quantity, but the quality that is uploaded. Most, if I feel my energy is not in a good place, and it's best to do nothing. Okay, let's discuss what is happening with us at this time of the lunar eclipse in Taurus. For each of us, it will affect different areas of our lives, depending on the house in which it occurs. Let's begin on what was and where we are heading. Transformation. We have all been going through this from the time we were born. Change does happen throughout life. It just occurs at different times and can last many years. The question we must ask ourselves is the what, where, and how. The why is to force us into becoming better versions of ourselves in relationships and society on this planet that we share with others. In doing so, we must be good stewards and caretakers of the environment around us. This includes people, animals, resources, and earth. We all come into the world with nothing, and nothing leaves this world with us, not fame and fortune, family or friends, or food and possessions. Even our body remains behind to return to whence it came. Transformation is all about the authority, power, and control over only ourselves. Each of us is created differently but equally. We all have opinions, thoughts, and ideals how things should be, but it doesn't mean we have to agree. But by sharing and assisting each other, we can make the world a better place to live. After each transformation of our life, we are reborn into being a better person of our old self. There is a new beginning, a completeness that is going to take place, and it will only be the characteristics of love that will help us through to the end of our life as we know it. So I will go ahead now and start beginning to do the astrology and give the tarot cards that I see for the energy of each sign. I'll try and keep it simple. I'll try and stay focused on just the house of where that's coming from for each and every sign. So if you will hang with me today, we'll see how it goes. So let's begin for each sign. What's going to take place? Before I begin doing the astrology for each sign, I want to discuss the energies of the planets from the sun all the way through to Saturn for that day and what their energies will be. Saturn, which will be ruling the day because that will be on a Saturday. Saturn deals with where you learn to operate within the limitations of society, responsibility and rules, fears, obstructions, limitations, father, the teacher. Its energy will be one due to its resting. It doesn't have much energy. It is still retrograde. It will not go stationary to the 1st of November. Jupiter, which is the planet of a personal expansion process of your realm and horizons, this house brings good fortune and luck, the house of optimism, confidence, and pride. But its energy is going to be at a -5 because it too is retrograde. And it still has, I believe it's 63 days and 6 hours of retrograde to go before it goes direct. The next one will be Mars. Mars is about courage and the ability to take action, desire, and nature, and aggressive drives. Sign shows how you go out after values and survival. The house is where you concentrate this energy. So I'll be letting you know on each one of these. And Mars is going to be at an 8. Its energy is the highest of the whole day. It will be very intense. So Mars, we're going to have to be very careful about our ability to take action. Also questioning our desires and aggressive drives that we have. And also maybe check our values and how we're going to survive something at this time. And what are you really concentrating your energy toward there? The next one is the sun. Its energy will be a -5. It's all about our inner personal purpose, our inner drive and energy, the source of will and motivation, sense of confidence, strength, individuality, and creativity. And it will only be at a -5. So there won't be a whole lot of energy there to get something done. And it, like I said, it may be very aggressive that day because of Mars. It could be a lot of agitation of not being able to get things done. Venus, she'll be 0 degrees, but overnight between 1, and these are all my times, Eastern Standard Times, when I give you a time, you'd have to do for yourself on yours, between 1:07 a.m. to 2:12 a.m., she will drop to a -3. So your capacity to love and your values is what Venus is all about. The sign shows your attitudes and needs in love. House shows what you value most and attract to yourself. Refinement. Money can either be gained or lost during this time. The next one is Mercury. Mercury being the planet of the concrete and the conscious mind. The sign and house shows how and where you communicate and assimilate the results of your relationships. It's about reason and logic. And Mercury's going to be at a -5, so communication may not be good. The last thing we have is the moon. And the moon is how we express our purpose in everyday activities through our emotions, attitudes, habits, general moods, how you adapt to your environment. And it's also about the mother. And it will be at a +4 most of the early day up until in the evening, my time again, Eastern Standard Time. From 7:40 p.m. to 4:23 a.m., it will increase from a 4 to a 7 during those hours I just told you. 7:40 p.m. to 4:23 a.m. So when I talk about the houses and I say where this is, you can refer back to this to note that what each one and what it will be for you. Okay? I just want to go for that so we can go ahead and get that out of the way when I start showing what houses the lunar eclipse will be for each sign. All right. I also want to add to this that the moon in its energy being so high is because it's exalted in Taurus. But the ruler of this eclipse is going to be Venus. With Venus having the strength at 0 for most of the day into the early morning hours, like I said, those times I said, we will feel that need of in that relation with Venus about our capacity to love and our values and our attitude and needs in love. Be a focus there. And remember what I said about the house will show when the house that is going to be for each sign is what you value most and attract to yourself. Again, this could be dealing a lot with money and gains and loss. Okay? Because the opposition to that is going to be Scorpio. And Mars is going to be very, very intense there. The energy on this day will be intense about what we desire. So I'll talk about more on that when I get into each sign and how it will be for each sign. Okay, let's take a close look at where this lunar eclipse is going to take place. You can see here it's in this area with Russia and South Africa, or Africa. I don't know why I said South Africa. I guess I was thinking of South America. But it will be taking a lot going on over in this area. And we know what already is going on in this area. And remember I said about the energy of Mars being so intense and the war that's going on there. And these Arab nations and Israel and Egypt and this impact is going to, it's going to be really, really intense in this area. So our focus may be a lot toward what we hear of what's happening. But this eclipse is going to have this effect here. Now you can see as the bands, I hope you can see these pretty good, but as it goes out, that means there will be less effect or less visibility on this. Let's go over now. So let's look at where it starts in that area. and it will go straight over, and you can see it's doing the eclipse, and there's a little portion there, as you can see at the bottom, and as it goes over Africa, it will go back to its illumination again. Again, you see at the bottom right here, there will be that uh, darkness, more intense energy at the bottom of the moon. It'll just be touching it, but you can see in the area where it's taking place. And again, the bands, you can see how they lighten, will be the visibility of those areas of what can see. It's only going to touch in the United States, here in Canada, and part of South America. It will be intense somewhere. It can be in here, be seen really well. As far as the United States, it looks like it comes through that area of South Carolina up through this part up in here, where we'll see. You can do that. Sorry about that. Where what's occurring here. So I'll let you just kind of look at it for a minute and visualize it and see what is going on here. All right, Cancer. The eclipse is going to happen in your 11th house. That 11th house has to deal with like-minded people and similar interests to achieve ideals and hopes, joint activities, group expressions, social life, and friends. An opposite of that is the 5th house for you. And the 5th house is being about love affairs and romantic attachments, self-expression, creativity, art and drama, children, pleasure and play, and speculation. I sure hope you checked out the beginning. You know, what I do, I put things up there and it's for a reason. And I hate for people to skip over, things, and then they commentate when they see the astrology. They commentate or comment when they have their remarks to make about the cards or whatever. But they failed to look at the important things in the beginning, at those the message that was there, and then the energies of the planets that I did out. And if you look down in the description area below, you'll see the links to those. Check them out. Please go through it. Just don't rush straight to the astrology and the cards and all. Okay? Because they can help out. Now, let's start out with this moon. It is a lunar eclipse. And, you've seen the beginning where I showed you where it's going to head and what it's going over, how much it's going to affect. And the moon is so important right now because it has to deal with it being in Taurus. It's exalted. The eclipse, the ruler of this eclipse is going to be Venus, which deals with your 3rd house. That is very mutable. It's connecting to your immediate environment, communications. It's all about communications, intellect and lower education and short journeys. What you learn during your lower educations in school. Excuse me. Or taking short trips, short journeys you go on. But it's how you connect with your immediate environment. Are you, Venus is all of that about love and everything. If you look at what I said about the energies and that, when I read off each one, I'm not going to go back over it again because I don't want to repeat myself, but go check it out. And what her energy is. She's not very, she doesn't have the energy there right now. She's trying to break free of something here, because she doesn't want to live in some sort of, she can either choose life, and I do know what I seen with your moon card when it came out, and you'll see that, but you can either choose life here, or you can choose to stay in some bondage or calamity here, and she is wanting to break free. and adapt to certain things. She has to adapt because she is in a trine with Uranus, which deals with nature, history, prophecy, uh, something coming to a complete perfection here, um, through prophecy, through nature and history. And right now with Uranus, it's opposite its house of exaltation, means that it is in some sort of dishonorable. It feels dishonored. It's like, or a fall. It's not in a good place because of that. Because the nature of the history of something here, you know, that could create. Do you choose to stay in something here of bondage and calamity, or do you choose to break free from it, from the nature and the history of something here? That's always the same prophecy. You get the same end result. It's time to complete whatever this is. And then we have the moon exaltation, because it is exalted in Taurus. And the sun is opposing it. So you could become, in that fifth house, frustrated, or something comes to light, the illumination of it, of the fifth house, that deals with love affairs, romantic attachments you may have to something, self-expression, that creativity, arts and drama, children, pleasure and play, speculations. Get out of speculations. Don't speculate on everything, because whatever it will be will come to light. In your first house, you have Vista there, which is connected to Libra, which is about your fourth house, which is where the South Node is. And the South Node, and Neptune being in conjunct with the South Node, which is about your ninth house, which is about the higher mind. What you're trying to achieve here. And anytime there's an inconjunct, these energies don't, they clash one another. You can either, something could either come to light on this, but there has to be some adjustments made here. A decision has to be made about things from the past acts, to have a better future in your job, in your career. You may have been facing a lot of drama, a lot of trauma in your job, in the career. It is in a fire sign. And you're driven, but maybe you're driven too hard to achieve something here. And it's not bringing much peace, because Venus is also in conjunct with Chiron. So we've got two conjunction here running parallel to one another. I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to figure this out. What you wanted to accomplish or achieve, and what what you were thinking, or are you thinking too high above that, or trying to, how do I want to put that? You're trying to achieve some kind of goal that you can't really achieve, because nothing is perfect. We're not always successful at things here. And I think there's something you want to achieve or accomplish here that you thought over, you didn't think it all through. You tried, and that's, that's good. That's a success right there. That when you really try to do something here, but don't overextend your goals or your reaches that you can't, maybe not able, in some areas, not able to achieve. It's okay, but you gave it your best. And that's all that matters, is that you gave it your best. Because something here is running parallel for you. And there is a change in relationships as well, in partnerships. And this all has to do with the hand of God Himself, is making these transformations about the past towards the future. It says you don't have to always be successful. I mean, I know that better than anybody. But if you give it your all and you're doing good, then you've done what you can do. And some things you didn't achieve or you didn't accomplish, let it go. It's okay. It's not failure. Believe you me, it's not failure. It just, you set standards maybe too high. I've done that before myself in the past. I had high expectations of something, and it didn't work out. Okay, it's all right. There's always a new beginning. And I deal with each thing as it comes along, whatever it may be. But this energy is kind of right now at this eclipse, and this full moon is so powerful because of that moon being in Taurus. It's so exalted. And we're driven in some way to get what we desire or go after what we desire. And sometimes we don't get it, and that's okay. Just be the best of you that you can be, and you'll be okay. But right now, with this in your first house with Vista, is you got to come to terms with something here of the past. You got to get that balance back in your life. Because if you keep going out of balance, it's not going to be good. At all. And in that area of your 11th house with friends, you got to look at their nature, their history, to determine what the outcome will be. Because there is trauma there, either by you or by them. I don't know. And that may be where there is trauma in the workforce. And it will be in the future if something here doesn't change. Don't expect, see, this is the thing about everybody. And we all got to face this. They're them, you're you. Everybody's not going to be like me. Everybody's not going to be like you. Everybody has their own authority, their own power, and they can only control them. We can't expect or have the expectations of everyone being like us. We all are created equally to some degree. And we all deserve the same respect. Your ideals may not match with other people's. Your opinions aren't the same as other people's. It's okay. It's all right. You're not going to have everybody agreeing with everything about what you say or what you do. That's you. You control you, your authority, your power, your control over you and only you. But this time is about grace and love and those characteristics of love in relationship with other people. One of these days, I'll put a thing up about it, a note. Oh, dadgummit, I keep hitting that mic. Urgh. But we got to let go of trying to think everybody should be like we are. We're not perfect, and neither is the other person. And you have to look at them and say, well, they're not perfect, and I'm not either. So, okay, I can only control me. I only have the authority over me. We have to give each other equal amount of space here. To learn and experience. I've got a problem with the screen here. Ah, come on. Oh well, I'll fix it later. It was bugging me because it was offset. So anyway, do the best you can do with what the gifts you have, the talents you have, and give everybody that love, those characteristics of love. That hey, no, you're not like me, and no, I'm not like you, and it's okay. Don't be resentful because everybody's not like you. Nobody's perfect in any shape, form, or fashion. And we have to accept that. We're opposites. Some things need to come out in the light. And if you haven't succeeded at something here, because I'm seeing parallel here to trauma in the workplace, in communication, that you're missing something here. Look at everybody in their nature and their history, and it'll tell you what's going to be the end result here of what's to come. And let it be what it is. Worry about what you can do and you accomplish. Another thing, too, is don't set your goals way beyond that are attainable. Okay? Now let's get to the cards. You do have the Fool here. No, I forgot one thing before I go on. I almost did it again. Catching myself, thank goodness. I'm glad it when I catch myself. Now, what's going to happen here is you see the moon comes into conjunction, and I mean, they're right there together. 11 degrees here, 11 degrees here. It's the trials and tribulations, doing something of disorder, chaos, conflict, judgment. Don't be judgmental here. We're all going to be judged on our own merits of how we treated others. And also, something's going to be brought out into the light here with the conjunction with Mars being right at the same degrees, 11, 11, 11, 11. Now, a lot of people look at 11, 11 in different ways. I look at them through biblical ways, and I do see that, especially what's going on in that area where that eclipse is going over, that there is war, there is aggression. And this is dealing with your fifth house. Don't be so aggressive here at some things. You got to think. With that fifth house, how are you in about your romantic attachments to things or people? Don't over romanticize about people. That's just a cautionary thing. Or sometimes we over romanticize about ourselves too. But something will come out. And this energy between Mars and Mercury, with the sun, conjunct with the sun, gonna be difficult. Something here is going to be illuminated about love affairs. about friends, acquaintances, your social life. So you've got to say, okay, don't get yourself caught up into something that's not healthy at all, because there is going to be this change. We're all changing. It's the process of life, and this is the biggest of them all. It's not going to be an easy one. It's going to be very strong, very intense. And they may not agree with you in some areas. And that's okay too. We just know that, okay, I'm like this. I agree to disagree. I mean, it's okay. I don't feel the same way everybody else does. And that's okay. I let them feel the way they want to feel. They have their opinions, their thoughts, their ideals. I might not agree with it, but that's all right. I'm not going to be hostile to somebody just because they just don't agree with me. That's crazy. That's insanity. Everybody's got to be themselves. They got to be accountable for themselves. I'm not accountable for them. The first thing you've got coming out here is the Fool. That's the beginning of the major arcana. And the Fool is associated with Aquarius. Some people associate it with Aries. Could be. I don't know. But what I see, it's associated with the planet of Uranus. Because Uranus can somewhat, it's kind of funny because I'm saying Uranus is in Taurus and it's in a fall and dishonored there because it's opposite of its exalting house or sign, the sign that exalts it. So I would say be very careful about taking risk here because you may fall. You may leap into something that people are warning you, don't do that. Don't have these expectations. And I mean, we do know you have the Ace of Swords here, and he carries it in his little sack. But that sword is a double-edged sword. Sometimes we can be too cynical. Sometimes we can be too much, and we see the crown right up above this. So, and that's Aries energy. So be very cautious. And Aries is your 10th house. Don't create trauma for yourself or chaos for yourself. Be open-minded that things change. Because God is giving you this sword to say, okay, I want you to be authentically who you are. Because remember, everybody we meet, and even ourselves, don't show everyone everything about us. We only show them our ascending sign, what we want them to see. And if people would listen to that, because people will show you what they only want you to see. Like, let's say in relationships, you get involved in a romantic relationship, people may want you to see only what they want you to see. And until you live with them and until you know them better and all, you're not going to really see something here. Don't over romanticize about something here without knowing the truth of something. Because Aries can be very driven to want to achieve something, to accomplish something. She's driven. And Mars is going to be very, very, its energy is so strong at this full moon. Be cautious. It's like a big capital letters screaming at you, caution, caution. Be careful what you say because it could cause some conflict here. or a decision you make, don't be too quick to make rush decisions, because you could hurt yourself. We do have the sun underneath this, and we see the sun is there. Something here is being illuminated. That's Leo energy, your second house. Everybody doesn't have the same values in life. Everybody doesn't come from the same place. I mean, they'd come from their mothers, but that's true there. But that second house is, about your self-worth. Could be also something here. Don't be too radical. Because, like I said, the sun is illuminating the exaltation of the emotions and what you feel. We also have, with this strength, again, 2 Leo signs. This is the sun. You got 2 planetary energies here. You've got Uranus here, which is in its fall or dishonor. So don't take any risk or sudden jumps or leaps of faith without knowing something or seeing something here. The sun is trying to illuminate something here about maybe friends. What you romanticize about friends or whatever may not hold true, because they may not be showing their true selves, or in groups you're in or activities you're in. They're only showing you what they want you to see, but something here could definitely be illuminated. And think before you react to something. A crown's not sitting on her head for something, and queens are about relationships. Let something, whatever it is, let it show itself. And that, because if you take too much of a quick reaction here, you could end up in this conflict, and nobody wins here. That is Aquarius energy, which is your 8th house. The other person, there's nothing there. There's no planets there, but the ruling planet of it, for Aquarius, is that fool, is Uranus, rebelling against something. Don't be so quick to just take that leap of faith at something here. Know what you're jumping into before you jump into it. Think with your head, not with what you desire or what you're driven to feel here. Because this is about strength and courage to make a decision here. And you can make the decision to avoid this. Now, the cards I've got here for the outcomes on these, they come from the bottom of the deck, okay? Or whatever you look at it. Because, turn the deck over, the overall energy. And I don't know what they are. I don't look at them. I don't pre-look at them to see what they are. Whoa. Okay. You got the 8 of Cups. And this does look like that lunar eclipse. The sun and the moon. Walking away from something here. Sort what you feel. Find out if it's true. Don't just assume something. Usually the 8 of Cups, I look at it this way. The 8 of Cups, you may have experienced some grief, remorse here in a relationship, because maybe the Ace of Cups, you didn't get what you wanted. That's okay. That's all right. But don't speculate about it. Sort out your feelings here. And then you move forward. Usually doesn't mean that you're going away and you're not coming back to a situation. You just need to sort out your feelings before you take any action. Think before you leap. I mean, you ever seen those little things where it's like pictorials and they show and they got this and you got to put it all together and it's plus this or minus that. You got to put the words. That's kind of what I'm getting here. What's with this queen and the sword? Again, the sun. The sun's real strong here, really illuminating something here about your second house values. Are there shared common values here? Do you both desire the same thing? You've got to, don't be too critical of another person. We're not all not perfect. Yep, see, you got the two of wands here. This is Gemini. I'm not, a lot of people say, well, when they see the lovers, you may be dealing with a Gemini. Could be, but I don't look at it like that. Gemini is that of thought, communication. Is there communication going on here? Are we talking? Are we communicating what we desire from one another in relationship without arguing, without being frustrated? We've got a lot of sun here, so there's something about feelings being illuminated here. Something coming into the light. And we have Capricorn energy here. And so it is something here with your seventh house. Partnerships, relationships, difficulties. Who's doing all the talking? Who's doing all the communicating? Is it got to be one person's way or the other way? But I see two people walking away here. And you've got to have the courage and the strength. And that's what the transformation is all about. To tame something here that has to do with Leo, the sun, something that's being illuminated. If I thought for 1 minute every time I thought something or whatever, and I just wanted to just do this or do that without stopping myself and not want to, because this is kind of vengeance energy. And who does that serve? Nobody. And I always say to myself, I can't do anything worse than God Himself would do. And I always keep that in my head before I react, even though I want to. I don't care what I want to do, what I should do. I keep thinking, hey, God always says in Scripture, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, not yours. Now, I know y'all can tell me some other thing, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's the old way. That's not the new way. Remember, there's old book and new book. Read them both. The old way was eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Now it's vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will deal with it. You give it to me and I will handle it. And that's the way I look at it. Because I can't do anything any worse to somebody than what God would bring the karma on them and the suffering. So I just don't do it. I don't let my emotions lead me to do something that later on I might regret. Unless I'm in the moment and it happens in the moment and it goes against my values, then I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I try to still keep it at a peace situation. Not in an anger until someone just until they really get ugly. And then I'm either got to do one or two things. I got to walk away or set them straight. You're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to do me that way. And that's the way it goes. You do have, for the moon here, the energy of the moon is the waxing. And this is what's going to intensify. It's about free will. But it's also negative. It's 13 here. You got to take your free will and make it more positive during this time as that energy gets stronger and stronger and more intense. And it's almost like she has the sun right in her face, illuminating something here, but wearing a mask. And I find this real interesting because I did see these two cards beforehand. And I just noticed this. Here's a mask. Something being hidden. Because what your spirit message is, all that glitters. And we see that the mask needs to come off. And spirit is here. You need to be more authentic. Look at the colors. You need to be more radiant. You need to glow. I mean, you need to just be authentically who you are. Take the mask off. Don't put on a persona that you're not. And the other person, ask the same of them. I need to see who you really are. And then I can make an honest decision. There's nothing wrong with that. Because we do have the sun here as well. You've got something about here with the sun and Leo in your second house, which is all about those things of values and feelings and self-worth and, heredity, social privilege, culture, background, possession, security, earning ability, money. I hope somebody is not here worried mostly about money and possessions. Because I'm telling you right now, money comes and goes. We only use it to live on, pay our bills, do what we got to do, buy our food, buy our clothes, what's needed. We got to have it as an exchange, a bartering exchange. If you look at it that way, I don't look at fame and rich and glory. I'm not, like I said, I don't use this channel to put out quantity. I want quality. A lot of people, you need to put more videos out, more videos. Okay, I can sit here and do videos every day. You want me to just jam it down your throat? No. If it's not going to serve you and help you, why should I do it? If my energy's not right, guess what? It's not going to be a good reading. It's not going to be helpful to you. You're just going to get the energies that I'm feeling, and I don't want to do that. I want to help people change and transition into a rebirth in their life that maybe something here is completing. It's done. Where do we go from there? How do we transcend and reborn and rebirth into this new life better than we were before in the old? Like I said, there's two books. There's the Old Testament and New Testament. The old is done. It's completed. It's over. We're in the new. It's different. I've seen where people use scriptures from the old to say this and that. Well, you're quoting wrong because we don't live there anymore. It's done. It's completed. We live by different laws now. A lot less. So there's something here that I feel the masks need to come off. And you've got to have the willpower to know that with you, only person you can control, only one you have the power, the authority over is you, not anybody else. Unless you're a boss, an executive, then yes, you do. But I tell you what, if you are, you better treat people very kindly and not abuse them. Or it's not going to go good for you, for your business. It's not going to go good for your customers. It's not going to go good for anybody. You will not prosper in that way. Because let me tell you something, like I said in the thing, go read it. You come in this world with nothing and you'll leave with nothing. You don't even get to take your body. It remains here. And it comes from whence it came. So that's what I got for y'all. Sometimes truths are hard, and that's okay. So anyway, I'm done with this. Y'all take care, and I will see y'all on the next one. Just know that this is going to be a very, very intense lunar eclipse, okay?